Hello everybody, I'm Russell.J, and as the title says, today I'm going to be reversing my friend's game, along with going into a little bit of an in-depth explanation on how to find GNames, GObjects, GWorld, and a couple other things that you would want if you plan to reverse Unreal Engine 4 games or generate SDKs if you're into that, which I very much am. So, full disclaimer that I did get permission from my friend to reverse his game. I'm not a douchebag to that degree. So I will feel no remorse doing this, and you can try this on his game, but he'll have an update out already, because this is a previous version, so yeah, have fun with that. But basically, I'm going to say a couple things right off the bat. This will be preferably for games made with Unreal Engine 4.22 and lower, because at 4.23, GNames was deprecated and replaced with FName pool. It's a different thing, but you can use it the same. But I'm not going to go over that in this tutorial. This is for Unreal Engine 4.22 or lower. So, pretty much, what we're going to want to do is, if you are new to reversing Unreal Engine 4 games, or, you should have some experience with things like IDA, or understanding what patterns are. If not, I'll explain a little bit of that, but you should have a basic understanding, and you should be using UE4, to a degree that you will understand things reversing. You want to use it, really, before you reverse it. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go over how to find GNames, which is the global name array. Has all the names in a game. The global objects array. It's an array of all the objects in a game. And global world, GWorld, which is basically a pointer to all the objects in the world. So, that's that. We're also going to be searching for something called process event. Now, process event is basically a function that you can use in Unreal Engine 4 games to call other functions. In fact, the parameters are even U functions and the struct, or a struct of parameters that you want to use for the function you want to call. And that's very useful, because if you decide to generate an SDK for, let's say this game, Sector 452, well then, if you want to generate an SDK, you can't really call any functions or anything without having the pattern to process event. So it is a very important thing in my mind. You don't need it to generate an SDK, but you damn well need it to use it, to the degree I like to use it. So yeah, there's that. But pretty much, that's what I'm going to be going over. I will say that there is a better tutorial that explains, if you want to learn more, if you're watching and like, hey, what's this whole GName, GObject bullcrap, I will have a link in the description and actually up on the screen. Basically, this guy made a video that explains it better than I could explain it. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, and you're very confused, and you're just starting to reverse UE4 games, you're going to want to watch that guy's video and learn more about what everything is. That guy made a very good video. So, to start off, if you are new to reversing UE4 games, which I assume you are, good rule of thumb is to create a test game for yourself. I have a test game up in IDA right now that I made. Basically, you want the test game to have a PDB, or include debug files. And if you don't know, if you're not being able to get it when you package a project, the engine has to have engine debugging symbols included, which is like another 10 gig download. But it is very good for practicing, because when you have a PDB, which I hope you know, but a PDB allows you to view all the functions in a game. This game right here that I have is a test game. It's literally just the default first-person shooter template. Or, yeah. So, but if I look for a function, for example, something as simple as jump, you just give it just a second to load through all the stuff, you can see a bunch of functions. A character can jump internal. However, if I was to do that to my friend's game, which doesn't have an which doesn't have a PDB, nothing will pop up, because none of the functions are named. So it's always good to kind of match up, to take a look at a game that you made, that you know the functions to, and basically compare stuff and see, what works and what doesn't. So first off, I'm going to show you how to get the GWorld, GObject, and GNames, and actually process event, with a game that you have a PDB with. So let's get this out of the way first for PDB users. I know a lot of games like Satisfactory and stuff do that, so if you're into that, let's just get that out of the way, and then I'll reverse the game, and I'll show you how to do it. So if you do not have a PDB, just skip ahead from here. So for a PDB, if you want to scan for GNames, you're going to want to go into the function box. By the way, assuming you've used IDA before, you're going to want to wait until the initial analysis is complete. You will know that when this yellow ball right here turns green like it is now. You'll be able to search for much more things, and there will be a lot more results once you let the analysis finish. Secondly, let's go into options, general, and you want to set the opcodes to 10. Basically, the opcodes are the bytes that are displayed over here. So if I set them back to 10, you can see they appear. And it'll be easier to copy and paste, and overall just easier. If you're in graph view, just press space to get out of it. You should know the basics of IDA. Now back to the good stuff. So for GNames, the function that you want to search for is fname get names. Right here. And basically, you are going to want to copy the bytes from here, the move, to the J and Z. So basically these right here. And I'll just copy and paste them over real quick to show you. These are the 3 bytes that you are going to want. Should be 12 bytes. You can have more, but this is what I do. And that is good right there. So you have the GNames bytes right there. Perfect. If you want to find the GObject, you don't have to search for anything function-wise. You just select GObject, copy this. This is an address. So to go to an address in IDA, you want to press the G button. Let's paste this address in there. Press OK. It takes you to here, where it's actually named. Then you just click the XREF, and boom. There is your GObject array. So again, according to right here, this document I have that I made, you want to have the bytes from the lee and the call. So let's just go over there. Should be another 12 bytes. You can do more again. Okay. There we go. And if you are, more in depth when we get the pattern scanning and stuff, you can just use patterns, and sometimes you'll never have to update the actual game if you have good wildcards. So, that's done. Now, GWorld. It's just like GObject. You're going to copy this address. You're going to press the G button. Search for the address. Go to the XREF. And down here, it states you're going to want move, test, and J and Z. So if we look at this, we can see. Should be another 12 if I'm not mistaken. Boom. 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 So there you go. There's that. Very easy, very simple when you have a PDB. I'm also going to show you process event. You just literally go into the function search UObject, : process event. And there you go. You can copy any bytes from here. I like to do these 2 little moves right here, like 11 bytes, so that's perfect. So right there, you have what you're looking for, so you're fine now. Again, that was for with a PDB. Now we're going to go over to without a PDB. We're going to actually start reversing my friend's game as I wanted to do. But now you have this little info if you ever come across a game with a PDB, or just want to practice for yourself, because this will come up later. Just remember that. So, if you go into here, we did process event. There is another thing I forgot to talk about, which is create default object. I don't really feel like going into this because, honestly, most games have the exact same pattern. This little thing right here. These patterns right here. But for the hell of it, if you have a game with a PDB, you can just type in create default object. uClass create default object. You can just copy the bytes here, but I've never had a game that didn't work with the pattern that was provided, so you really don't need that, but there you go, little bonus tip of the day. Wow. So, let's start reversing games like you probably have that don't have PDBs, because developers aren't that cool anymore. So, this game doesn't have a PDB, so we're going to be abusing strings. Hopefully, you did watch, the front part, the first part, so you know how to set the opcodes, and you know the importance of IDA and stuff, how to get out of graph view. So, what we're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to View, Open Subviews, and Strings. Again, the ball up here turned from yellow to green, so it is finished analyzing. Let it do its little thing with its generating of strings. It's going to generate a lot of them. We're only going to be searching for a few, though. A few that work for us. So let's get rid of this little tab here. I like to have a little document open just to, keep a record of things for later. Alright, all the strings are done generating. So what we're going to want to do is I have two strings you can abuse here, but this one right here is the one that I see in most UE4 games. So let's just copy this string. We're going to be abusing it. Eat the hell out of the strings. You see the string. It's been found in the string list. We want to click it, and we want to go to xref. So basically, the way the string, search works is this string is in a function. And in that function, when you go to the xref, it takes you to the function it's actually listed in. You click. The sub is a function. It takes you to the function. In fact, I think it is a version function. Yes, it is. So this is perfect. So what we're going to want to do, if you watch the first part, you remember that when we were searching for the GNames, and we found it, it looked like this. This was the structure of it. Well, the structure should be the same for this game, as the engine versions are relatively close. In fact, if I even scroll down a bit, what do you see here? In the PDB version of the game, you see the same exact layout. Except this function isn't named. This one is GetOS version, but it has the same exact stuff. The same setup, the same bytes, not same bytes, the same strings. So in fact, nice little tip on how to rename functions. Let's copy this name of the function over to here. You don't have to do this, ain't mandatory at all, but just so we don't lose our track. Boom, that's how you name a function. But as you can see, it's exactly the same. And if in the PDB, when you scroll up, you see the nice little GNames right here, should mean, for the non-PDB game, after searching for this string, when you scroll up, you should also get the GNames. So there we go. That is the GNames. Now, I do have it written to the side, so you don't have to have another thing of I to open. But pretty much, you want to copy the move, the test, and the JNZ. There is what the GNames is supposed to look like, and we found them over here. It's very simple. So now, let's copy down the 3 bytes I said. We want the move. We want the test. And we want the JNZ. There, we found the GNames. One down, a couple more to go. So, now that you understand the basic of abusing the string and, comparing, I'm going to be comparing some more. So we have GNames down, and I'm going to name the function, because I don't want to lose this in case I decide to mod this game in the future. So, there's the name. Boom. Now, if we search it in here, fname, getName void, yeah, appears, should be fine. Excuse me. So, I also have a little bit of notes here. The GName should always start with 48AB05. I've always seen that. So, as you can see, 48AB05 started with it. We have the 3. We copied it down. We're perfect. Now, for GObjects, we are going to want to abuse this string. This string called A_grave. I don't know how to say that, so let's go with it. Yay. So let's do the same thing we did before. Let's search for the string. And it says we want the first result usually. So let's go to the first result. Again, you want to click the xref, this function. Perfect. Now, it's a little far up for GObjects. It's not right above, if you remember. But a good comparison is if you have another game open, again with the PDB, you can search for the string in here too. And see if it appears. It appeared here. Let's go to the xref. If I scroll up a bit on the PDB game, we can see that it gets to a point where it shows the GObjects. It is in this function list. So, in theory, now that we have a string that properly works, one of the ones I listed, if we too scroll up and we compare each function to this setup, we should find the GObjects this way. So let's scroll up a bit. Nope. 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 Jesus Christ. Nope. Nope. You can see we're still scrolling up. Oh, but what is this right here? This looks a little familiar. SRW lock. Look right down here. In the PDB game, there is something else called initialize SRW lock. And it has the same type of setup. And above this is apparently the GObject array. If we look above, there it is. There's the GObject array. And again, you can compare it with this notepad I have here, which basically tells you the setup it should be. It should be a sub, lee, call, lee, add, jump, sub, something like that. And if you look, it seems to be exactly what it is. Now, does it start with 48AD 0D? 48AD 0D. We fucking got it. So now, GObject. Now, according to this and according to what I say, we want the 12 bytes here on the lee and the call. So let's just copy these babies over. For the record, I even get confused every now and then. And again, I'm not some kind of, I'm not a pro reverser. I'm just someone who's bored, pretty much. Wow, I really screwed up Notepad++ there. But I get confused sometimes. You will not believe how many times I saw this in a non-PDB game, didn't see the initialize SRW lock, and thought, oh my god, I found the GNames, or GObject. So it's alright to make mistakes. You just gotta learn from them, see what you did wrong. So, we got the GObjects. I'm actually gonna label this so that we have it in the future. The lee, yep, let's rename this to that. Just some housekeeping. There we go. Now, what we're gonna wanna find next is GWorld. I have another string that we can abuse. So, if we look at this, GWorld should almost always look somewhat similar to this. And it should always start usually with, Am I talking about always or usually? Most of the time, I'll say that. It'll save my ass. So, the string that I have to abuse is failed to load Unreal Engine class, the first result. So let's search for that in the Friends game. There's a result. Let's go to the xref. It's the same one here. It doesn't matter what we press. And I note here to scroll down. If you remember, we've been scrolling up, so to have the note to scroll down, really remember. So what we're going to be looking for is in the instruction list. We're going to scroll until we find a move ss, xcorp, ucommit, blah, 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 or something similar to this kind of setup. I'm not going to compare it to a PDB because I feel like that's taking more time, and I think you got the idea the first time. So, now that we have it, let's start scrolling down until we see it. I'm not going to say no a million times. I'm just going to be going with my line. So this here, this isn't it yet. We can keep scrolling. It is a bit far down, and depending on the game, it could be very far down. But you just want to keep scrolling. It's a new function here. A lot of moves, but not the move we're looking for. Nope. Oh, is this? Let's see. Nope, does not look set up right. It looks like it in the beginning, but it isn't. Let's keep scrolling then. Oh, right here. Is this it? Move SS. Yep, it's a D word 1101. RB8. What? Yes, this looks like it is. And let's compare it with the game with the PDB. If I search for GWorld, is it set up the same? Why, yes, it is. And as I said in here, we want the move, the test, and the J and Z, just like the GNames. So what we're going to want to do is let's go down till we see the move. Perfect. Let's copy this bad boy. Let's paste it right here. Let's copy this. Paste it right here. And finally, the JZ. I don't know why I said J and Z. Perfect. Should be another 12. You can do more again, but this works fine. And just for some housekeeping, I'm going to label GWorld. Yeah, alright, I was right. I was a little confused there for a second. Boom. So we found 3. Now, let's search for process event, which is the next thing on our list. Process event. if we go back over to our GDocs, and we scroll down. Now, I have a couple ways that I use to find process event. I'm going to show you the string abuse, and I'm going to show you the possible sig that I have. I went through many Unreal Engine games, and I found this sig works for a lot of them. So maybe it'll work for you. So pretty much, let's abuse this string right here I have. Access none, no context. And it says to scroll down. And this should be the setup. Hopefully. And some games will not have this setup, so it'll take a little digging on your part to find it sometimes. But for this game and this purpose, this is what we're going to do. So let's go to strings. Let's search the string. Perfect. There's a result. An xref. Perfect. Sometimes they won't have xrefs, which really sucks, but there it is. So, there. Just click it. And I say to scroll down, so let's scroll down. Jesus. Oh. Oh. Wow. It was right there. It was right beneath it. It will not always be like that. But yeah, if you scroll down from the xref, look at the comparison. More importantly, though, look at this. It looks identical. And let's go into quickly the PDB game, and let's search for the process event here. Object process event. It looks like it's fairly similar. Might not be 100%, but let's take a look. Yeah, it looks like it is. So what we're going to want from here, you can pick any bytes you want for this because it is just a function, but I like these little two moves right here. So let's do them. These should be 11 bytes if I recall. And boom, that was the first method of finding the process event. Now let's name it real quick so that I can see which sig one is right when I do the sig thing. So let's name this function process event, like it should be called. Boom, done. So now, that was one method of finding process event. The other method I have is this possible sig here. You would copy it, you would press Alt and B to pull up a pattern scan, find all occurrences you want to select, and you would search this pattern. Now, again, it wouldn't actually have the name because I just put the name when I found it with the string. So, you know, it is here, but you would usually go through these if you find this as an easier option. And once you scroll through these, you should find the process event one, which we did in fact find, so bravo. So yes, we did find, in fact, the correct process event, because there is another one, but we didn't search for that. So we have the GName, GObject, GWorld, and the process event, all in bytes, because bytes are better than offsets, in my opinion. So there is that. So we are done the first part needed in reversing my friend's game or your game. So that's the end of this part. The next part will involve updating updating the SDK gen to, you know, the correct fucking classes or whatever, through reclass and through, you know, Visual Studio, the project we make. I'll show you how to update the patterns and stuff. The SDK gens I use, which are basically both from Knacker, but one of them's a little modified that someone posted, so that's pretty good. I like that. But yeah, so we have the most important patterns that we need, and hopefully this sheds some light on how to find them. My method. I'm no expert, but, you know. And, yeah, I'll see y'all later.